even get this video started, I want to hear from all of you all down in the comments below, because it's now been over a month since the fires down in Maui, and I want to see where your head is at. I want to see if anything has changed for you over this past month. Where are you at right now when it comes to this situation? What is your opinion? What are you feeling? Do you think that this was just a natural disaster, a natural wildfire? Do you think that something else caused this fire? Do you think that this was a natural wildfire, but then the powers that be took advantage of this situation? Do you think this is a land grab? What do you think? You know, it's been a month. We have not been presented with that much new information, but I know that over time, people's opinions change. So I think it's important, now that we've reached this milestone of a month out from this disaster, I think it's important to see where everyone's head is at, to see how everyone is feeling. I know that personally, when I talk to people, everyone kind of seems to be on the same page here. Everyone thinks that there's something really weird going on. Now, personally, I'm trying to focus on the response to this fire as opposed to the cause of this fire. Sitting in my home, I can't sit here and prove to you how this fire started. We know that we got officials blaming the power company, Hawaiian Electric. They're saying that downed power lines caused this fire, but Hawaiian Electric is claiming that the power was turned off hours before this fire even started. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I've seen evidence that would suggest that the power was off and that these power lines were dead. We've seen videos of people in the road removing power lines from their car. You know, we've seen videos of power lines collapsing with no sparks, no flames. So we've seen a little bit of evidence, but then again, you know, I'm not there, so I can't tell you for a 100% fact how this fire started. That's why I think it's important to focus on what happened after the fire started. Because when you look at all of the steps taken after this fire started, if you didn't know any better, and even if you did know better, you would look and you would think, well, these people were set up for failure. If you look at all of the steps that were taken, water getting shut off, police blocking escape routes, you name it, I don't have to go over the list 1,000 times. If you look at it, you would think that, oh, it looks as if they were working against the people of Lahaina instead of trying to protect them. But let's go ahead and listen to a couple of people who were actually caught in this fire, and then I'll be right back with more thoughts.
I broke all the possible traffic rules that you can think of. I do not know why I didn't have any warnings. The authorities claim that the siren is only for tsunamis. But there's so many families that died because they were sleeping. They didn't know. A siren would have at least tell them, hey, something's happening. No text messages, nothing, absolutely nothing. And the next day I came back to get my animals, and I saw all the vehicles that I was like standing in traffic to escape town. They were still in there, all burned down. And it was only locals pulling bodies out of the water and pulling people out of the water because we had no help.
But we found ourselves trapped on Front Street with fires coming at us. We had to make a decision to jump in the water. And at that time we did, when the flames was too hot to stay in the car. And we decided to go into the ocean. And at that point I met that family that had 5 kids, and I was given the 2-year-old to hold, and I had him for a number of hours. It was like an explosion going off everywhere, like a fire goddess, just like throwing fireballs all over the place.
You know, there has been a lot of talk about this alarm system, about these sirens around the island, and they claim that they're only used for tsunamis, but people, that's simply not true. Maybe that was the primary reason as to why they installed these sirens, but let's be honest. If a hurricane is approaching Lahaina, or a hurricane or one of these big storms is approaching the area, 9 times out of 10, or even 10 times out of 10, you got a warning well ahead of time. You know, having the sirens in the area, I'm not going to say it's not helpful, but when you're thinking about alarming people of a hurricane or a big storm coming, that's something that, you know, usually you would know of days in advance. You know what I mean? It's not like this is something that just pops up on you in a matter of moments, like a wildfire. So I know that these sirens are, you know, I guess their primary use is for storms, but I did my research and nowhere does it say that this is specifically what it can be used for. Actually, if you go into the website and you look at the program, they even mention that these can be used for wildfires. And it just so happens that there's been fires in Maui since the big fire down in Lahaina, and they actually used this alarm system. They used the sirens. And they should have used it during the Lahaina fires, but they didn't. And they claim that the reason they didn't use it is because they thought that people would think that a monsoon is coming and they would all run for the hills and they would run straight towards the fire. So they didn't sound the alarm, right? Now, when you think about that, it doesn't make much sense. Because if you hear an alarm go off, you step outside of your house, it's not like these big wildfires are invisible. You know, you could see the flames, or at the very least, you could see the smoke, and you would head the opposite direction. You wouldn't head straight into the flames. Meanwhile, the roadblocks around the area that stopped people from evacuating and redirected people towards Front Street were literally redirecting people towards the flames. So they claim that, oh, we didn't sound the alarm because people would run towards flames, when in reality, it looks as if y'all didn't sound the alarm because you didn't want to warn people, and the people that knew what was going on and tried to escape, you sent them right into the flames, just like you claimed would happen if they heard the alarm. So, what? I don't get it. Oh, we can't sound the siren because people will run towards the flames. So what we need to do is we need to put roadblocks at every escape route and then redirect people into the flames. Everyone had enough common sense that we need to head this way. But no, the police stopped people from going that way. And they redirected people into the fire. So all of this talk about, oh, the sirens, the people would have ran into the flames, it would have been tragic. No. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense at all. Those sirens would have saved a lot of people's lives. But the reality is, even if the sirens went off and all of these people were alerted, they would have hopped in their car, hopped on their bikes, motorcycles, whatever, and they would have ended up right at the same roadblock that stopped everyone else and forced people to either hop in the ocean or die in the flames. That's the reality, folks. And it doesn't matter how much time passes by, that reality is not going to change. 2 months from now, this isn't going to change. 5, 10 years from now, this isn't going to change. That's a solid fact, people. That's a solid fact. And it's disgusting, and honestly, it's downright terrifying when you think about it. And I don't think that enough people are really registering what happened here. But all we can do is continue to spread awareness. I'm doing my best to continue talking about this story and pumping out videos about this story every day, trying to raise awareness. You can do your part, though, by sharing these videos, sharing other information that you see about this fire, and let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all soon in the next video.